Satnam family, welcome back to Make Your Health a Priority, where we discuss all practices to help you become your most vibrant, healthy, and thriving self. The last week, we've been talking a lot about love and relationships, sex and libido, and today I want to talk a little bit about communication within relationships, specifically addressing romantic relationships. Now, these concepts we're going to discuss today can be applied to any kind of relationship that you have, but again, we are specifically talking romance today. So as an adult, one of the best skills that I acquired is to figure out what I need and what I want and how to communicate that effectively. And one way to do that is to identify what your love languages are. Now, this is a concept that was developed by two therapists, and you can take a quiz online to find out really easily what your love languages are. Now, keep in mind the way that you give love may be a little bit different than the way that you receive love, and that's going to be up to you to kind of figure it out. So for instance, maybe you love to give gifts to people, but when it comes to receiving love, you really prefer physical touch or quality time. So knowing that about yourself and being able to put terminology around that is going to be really helpful when you're trying to communicate this to a partner. And this may fluctuate and it may change depending on the scenario. So if you're having a really rough day at work, maybe you just want to be held. Or maybe you would love to have, your favorite flower or ice cream or magazine waiting for you when you get home. So knowing that about yourself can be really effective, and also finding out what your partner likes also can be really effective. And again, this can help you figure out who's maybe not the right person for you. I was having lunch today with a friend who mentioned she went to a wedding, and the young woman in the wedding didn't want to get married until her partner could provide her with a 2-carat diamond ring. And at first, if I'm being honest, I felt myself having a little bit of judgment on that. But that's just because that's not who I am. To her, if receiving gifts is a very important way to receive love, who the hell am I to judge that, But maybe if you meet somebody that has that standard and that's just not something you're ever going to be able or willing to provide, then that person's not the right person for you, and that's okay. And I know another version of myself who wasn't loving myself and who was feeling insecure, I wouldn't be honest about what I needed and what I wanted. I may do things or say things that I'm uncomfortable with because I just really wanted that person to want me or to like me. And the truth is, they didn't like or want the actual me. And that's okay too, because that isn't about me. That's about the lens they operate through life with, if that makes any sense. Another example, I have a client that I'm working with, and just today, she had put some boundaries around a relationship, asking the guy she's dating for a commitment. And he said he wasn't able to give that to her. And so she said she was going to have to exit the relationship. And then she started to feel a little bit rejected in that moment. And so the next day she went back and communicated to him that she was going to be okay with not having a commitment and she still wanted to see him, when the truth was she really did want a commitment. And what she was really feeling is that this person didn't want her, and so that made her feel lesser. And again, that's not about her. She is a wonderful, wonderful young woman, and she deserves somebody that's going to be able to meet her where she's at. Now, the last piece to this is showing up for your partner in the way that they're asking you to show up for them. So the analogy that I like to use is, let's say that you're drowning. If somebody throws you a bucket of water, that's not going to be super helpful in that moment. Or if you're on fire and somebody throws you a life raft, again, not very helpful in that moment. So as the person who's giving, maybe you're putting a lot of effort into this. Maybe you're making sure the home is really clean, or having dinner on the table, or buying really lavish gifts, when all that person really wants is quality time with you or physical touch. So it's not that they don't appreciate the efforts that you're putting in, but they're asking you to love them in a slightly different way. So I hope this video was really helpful and gave you something to think about. If you know your love language and you feel comfortable sharing it, I would love for you to put that in the comments. And if you don't know what your love language is, you can just give it a quick search on the internet and it'll come up. There are all sorts of free quizzes that you can check out. And I highly encourage you to do this for you and your partner, maybe even, for siblings or parents. so you can get to know each other a little bit better. And it is honestly really fun to do at parties. That might sound nerdy, but that's the kind of stuff that my friends and I do. So let me know what you think in the comments. Satnam.